Ready for a deep dive?
Always.
All right, well, this time we're diving into a world
Okay.
where saints can levitate and tigers become more than just ferocious beasts.
Sounds exciting.
It is. We're going on a journey through Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda.
Oh, cool.
A book that's not just a memoir, but like a guide
Okay.
to spiritual awakening and transformation.
Interesting. And, it's really remarkable how this book, published all the way back in 1946, still resonates with so many modern readers, just searching for meaning and purpose.
Right.
It's like Yogananda just kind of anticipated our quest for deeper understanding, for connecting to something beyond just the everyday.
Absolutely. You open this book and you're instantly translated to India in the late 1800s where Yogananda's spiritual journey began.
Wow.
Just imagine being a child and having this incredible experience, like being miraculously healed from Asiatic cholera.
Oh, wow.
Just by focusing on a photo of a yogi.
Really?
Yeah. I know, right?
That's something else. That yogi was Lahiri Mahasaya, Yogananda's guru.
Okay.
And, this incident, it really set the stage for Yogananda's lifelong pursuit of spiritual truth.
Really, from a young age?
Oh, yeah. From a young age, he wasn't just interested in, stories of saints and miracles.
Right.
He craved direct experience. He wanted to understand the reality behind these extraordinary feats.
And it's so fascinating how his upbringing played a role, right?
Oh, absolutely.
His mother was known for her saintly nature. His father was a disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya.
Yeah.
Spirituality was woken into his childhood.
Totally. And, and it wasn't just the spirituality of seclusion and renunciation.
Right.
Remember, Lahiri Mahasaya was what they call a householder yogi.
Okay.
He had a family, he had a job, he lived in the world. He showed Yogananda that spiritual growth doesn't have to require abandoning your everyday life.
That's such an important point because sometimes, spirituality can feel so out of reach. Like it requires you to retreat to a cave in the Himalayas.
Right.
But Yogananda's story shows us
Totally.
that we can integrate these practices, these aspirations into our modern lives.
Absolutely. But let's not forget that yearning for the Himalayas, though.
Oh, right.
As a teenager, Yogananda actually tried to run away to find saints.
He did?
In those legendary mountains. He didn't quite make it.
Wow.
But this interrupted flight, as he called it, solidified his dedication to the spiritual path.
Wow. So we have this young Yogananda, deeply devoted, yearning for deeper truths. And then the book takes us on this whirlwind tour of his encounters with these mind-boggling figures, saints and yogis, who seem to defy the laws of nature.
Autobiography of a Yogi truly captivates you.
I know. It's
It does put it down.
Take, for instance, the saint with two bodies, Swami Pranabananda.
Okay.
Yogananda meets him in a field.
Completely unaware that the Swami never actually physically left his ashram.
Wow.
Bilitation, being in two places at once.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about reality, right? And there's more. A Swami who could materialize objects out of thin air.
Right.
Another who tamed tigers with his bare hands in his youth.
Wow.
These aren't just fantastical tales.
No.
They're woven into Yogananda's journey, shaping his understanding of what's possible.
And what's crucial here is that Yogananda, he doesn't present these encounters as just mere spectacle. He's inviting us to consider the limitless potential within each of us, a potential that can be awakened through yogic practices, through dedicated effort. He wants us to see that the boundaries of reality are far more fluid than we might imagine.
So it's not just about the wow factor of these stories. It's about what they reveal about human consciousness, about the possibilities that might exist beyond our ordinary perception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, let's go back to that tiger Swami you mentioned.
Okay.
Just imagine a figure who could subdue a wild beast with his bare hands, yet who teaches that the true victory lies in conquering the inner tigers of our passions and desires.
Okay, that's a powerful image.
It is.
It makes you think about your own inner tigers.
Right.
Those impulses, those negative emotions that can hold us back, right?
Absolutely. The Tiger Swami story, while captivating, points to a deeper truth. The need for self-mastery, taming those inner forces that can create chaos in our lives.
And that's something that we can all relate to,
Yeah.
whether we're on a spiritual path or just trying to navigate like the ups and downs of daily life.
For sure.
Everyone has their own inner tigers to contend with.
And it's not just about suppression. It's about understanding, transforming these energies. Remember, Yogananda wasn't advocating for a life devoid of passion.
Yeah.
It's about channeling those passions, those energies, in a positive direction.
And speaking of energy,
Yeah.
there's the story of the levitating Saint Nagendranath Paduri.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've tried meditating.
Yeah.
I haven't quite managed to float off the ground yet.
Well, levitation aside, Paduri's story highlights the power of breath control,
Okay.
a core principle in yogic practices. He taught Yogananda about the connection between breath, life force, and higher states of consciousness. It's about understanding the subtle energies that flow through us.
So maybe levitation's like a metaphor
Perhaps.
for transcending limitations, for reaching like a higher state of awareness.
Perhaps. What's important is that each of these encounters, as outlandish as they might seem,
Right.
points back to the core principles of yoga and meditation. The power of the mind, the potential for transformation,
Yeah.
the interconnectedness of all things.
Right, and they all feed into Yogananda's central teaching, Kriya Yoga, which we'll delve into a bit later.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Kriya Yoga isn't just about mystical experiences. It's presented as a practical tool for self-transformation, for navigating the challenges of life,
Right.
for tapping into that deeper potential that these saints and yogis embodied.
I'm already feeling like I need to reread this book with like fresh eyes
Yeah.
to see beyond the fantastical elements and really grasp the deeper wisdom Yogananda is offering.
And that's the beauty of Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yeah.
It's a book that reveals more with each reading. It offers layers of meaning that resonate at different stages of our spiritual journey.
It's really striking how Yogananda blends these mystical encounters with his exploration of like the relationship between science and spirituality.
Right.
It's like he saw them
Yeah.
not as opposing forces,
Right.
but as like different lenses
Yeah.
through which to view the same underlying reality.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes Autobiography of a Yogi so relevant, even today.
Right.
We live in a world where science often takes precedence, but Yogananda reminds us that there are dimensions of reality that science alone just can't fully grasp.
And he found support for this idea in the work of scientists like Jagadish Chandra Bose,
Oh, interesting.
an Indian physicist and botanist who was a pioneer in the study of plant biophysics.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
Bose's research using, his invention, the crescograph,
Okay.
revealed that plants respond to stimuli in ways that we might consider sentient,
Wow.
reacting to light, touch, even emotions.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yogananda saw this as scientific validation of the interconnectedness of all life.
It's a concept central to yogic philosophy.
So it's like science is catching up
Yeah.
to what the yogis have known for centuries.
Exactly.
That consciousness isn't confined to the human realm, that there's this vibrant energy like pulsating through all of creation.
Precisely. And this brings us to a concept that Yogananda explores extensively in the book.
Okay.
Maya, the illusion of separateness.
Maya, yeah.
It's a bit of a mind bender, but essentially Maya refers to the way our minds create a sense of division where there is none.
Okay.
We perceive ourselves as separate individuals, separate from the world around us, and ultimately separate from the divine source.
So you're saying that this feeling of like
Yeah.
being a separate me is actually an illusion.
That's the essence of it.
Wow, that deep down we're all connected.
Yes, and it's this illusion of separateness that leads to so much suffering.
Okay.
We cling to our desires, our ego-driven pursuits, our fears,
Right.
and we lose sight of the underlying unity that connects us all.
It's like we're all individual waves.
Exactly.
But we forget that we're part of the same vast ocean.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And, Yogananda saw meditation as the key to piercing through this veil of Maya,
Okay.
to experience that underlying unity directly.
Uh-huh.
He believed that through deep concentration and stillness, we can quiet the chatter of the mind and access a deeper reality.
And that's where Kriya Yoga comes in, right?
Yes.
This technique that he presents
Right.
as a way to accelerate spiritual evolution.
Exactly.
So can you explain what Kriya Yoga actually is?
Well, it's a system of meditation techniques that involves specific breath control practices, visualizations, and concentration techniques designed to awaken and direct the flow of energy within the body.
Okay.
The goal is to still the mind, to transcend the limitations of the ego,
Right.
and to experience a profound state of union with the divine.
So it's not just about like sitting quietly and
Right.
emptying your mind. There are specific techniques involved.
Yes, and Yogananda emphasized that Kriya Yoga isn't some esoteric practice
Okay.
reserved for a select few. He saw it as a practical tool for self-transformation,
Mm-hmm.
a way to access deeper levels of peace, clarity, and energy in everyday life.
But Yogananda didn't shy away from acknowledging the challenges of the spiritual path either.
Of course not. It's not always easy.
He understood that there would be obstacles,
Yeah.
moments of doubt, times when we question everything.
Absolutely, and that's where the themes of faith and surrender become so crucial.
Okay?
Yogananda emphasized the need to cultivate an unwavering trust in a higher power,
Okay.
even when things get tough.
It's like that saying, let go and let God.
Right.
But it's easier said than done, right?
It definitely takes practice, and Yogananda's own life story is full of examples of how surrender to a higher power led to unexpected breakthroughs.
Like what?
Take, for instance, his trip to Kashmir with Sri Yukteswar.
Okay.
Yogananda was so eager to visit this breathtaking region,
Mm-hmm.
but his guru kept delaying the trip,
Oh, really?
much to Yogananda's frustration.
And then what happened?
Well, when they finally embarked on the journey,
Yeah.
Yogananda fell desperately ill with Asiatic cholera.
Oh, no.
And in his weakened state, he pleaded with Sri Yukteswar to heal him.
Mm-hmm.
And in a moment of incredible grace,
Yeah.
his guru seemingly transferred the illness onto himself,
He did?
relieving Yogananda of his suffering.
Wow, that's a powerful example of selfless love and compassion.
It is.
But it also raises questions about the limits of human ability.
Right.
Did Sri Yukteswar possess supernatural powers? Is that even possible?
Well, Yogananda certainly believed so.
Okay.
And, this incident isn't the only one in the book that suggests the existence of abilities that defy our conventional understanding of reality.
It's almost like these yogis were operating on a different level of consciousness.
Right.
Tapping into forces that most of us aren't even aware of.
And Yogananda's message seems to be that these abilities, while extraordinary, aren't out of reach for anyone who is willing to dedicate themselves to the path of spiritual awakening.
Okay.
He believed that through dedicated practice and surrender to a higher power, we can all access these hidden potentials within ourselves.
It's a lot to take in,
It is.
but it's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
It makes you want to dive deeper, to explore these possibilities for yourself.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
Yeah.
It's not just about absorbing information.
Yeah.
It's about sparking a fire within, a desire to experience these truths for ourselves.
It's amazing how Yogananda's story just kind of weaves together like personal transformation with a vision for a more peaceful world.
Right.
He wasn't just seeking enlightenment for himself.
Right.
He genuinely believed in the possibility of global harmony.
And that's what makes Autobiography of a Yogi so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just a guide to personal growth. It's like a call to action, an invitation to create a better world, starting with ourselves.
So he really believed that inner peace is the foundation for outer peace, right?
Absolutely.
That by transforming ourselves, we can contribute to a more harmonious society.
Absolutely. And, and he wasn't just talking about these abstract concepts either.
Okay.
He actively engaged with leaders and movements working for social change, including one very notable figure,
Ooh.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, wow. Now, that's an encounter I would have loved to have witnessed.
It would have been something else.
Two giants of spiritual and social transformation coming together to discuss the path to a more peaceful world.
Yogananda describes his meeting with Gandhi in 1935.
Okay.
They had this really fascinating exchange about the principles of nonviolence
Mm-hmm.
and the role of spiritual practice in creating lasting change.
So how did their approaches align? Were they on
Well-
the same page about how to achieve peace?
Gandhi, as you know, was a staunch advocate for nonviolent resistance, for satyagraha, the power of truth force to overcome injustice.
Okay.
Yogananda deeply respected this approach, but
Mhm.
he also saw Kriya Yoga as a complementary path, a way to cultivate the inner strength and resilience needed to stay committed to nonviolence, even in the face of adversity.
That makes sense. It's like inner transformation and outer action working hand in hand.
Exactly.
You need both to create real change.
Exactly. And, this brings us back to a key theme that runs throughout Autobiography of a Yogi:
What's that?
balanced living. Yogananda believed that true spirituality isn't about renouncing the world or escaping into some mystical realm.
Right.
It's about bringing spiritual practices and principles into our everyday lives.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
between inner contemplation and active engagement with the world.
Precisely. It's about approaching everything we do, our work, our relationships, our interactions with the world,
Right?
with a sense of awareness, compassion, and purpose.
And Yogananda believed that if enough individuals embraced this way of living,
Yeah.
it could have a ripple effect, transforming society from the inside out.
Absolutely. And it's a vision that continues to inspire millions of people all around the world, even today.
It's really incredible. As we reach the end of our deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi,
Yeah.
I'm left with this sense of wonder and possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yogananda's story has challenged my perceptions of reality,
Yeah.
expanded my understanding of human potential,
Yeah.
and left me feeling like anything is possible.
And that's the magic of this book.
It is.
It's not just a collection of stories, it's an invitation to embark on our own journey of self-discovery.
Right.
To explore the hidden dimensions of our being
Mm-hmm.
and to contribute to a more peaceful and harmonious world.
So to all of our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we leave you with this final thought from Yogananda's guru, Sri Yukteswar. The law of demand and supply reaches into subtler realms than I had supposed. What spiritual demands are you putting out into the universe?
Yeah.
And are you ready to receive the abundance that awaits?
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep until next time.